The Human Founder Podcast by Gali Bloch-Liran.
Hi, I'm Gali Bloch-Liran and welcome to The Human Founder, the podcast where we speak about the mental aspects of the entrepreneurial journey. Entrepreneurs often describe the emotional roller coaster that is embedded in being an entrepreneur investor, where you experience the lowest of lows when your daughter is sick because she was born without an immune system, and the highest of highs when you build your first tech company with huge impacts on the society you live in. And it's from that place of uncertainty, the need to constantly self-manage ourselves, keep up our energy and be mentally resilient in order to deal with everything, well, it's not easy. In each episode, I will be talking to entrepreneurs, investors, psychologists, being their sounding board, with the goal of creating a space for this less spoken about layer, which is the mental aspect accompanying the entrepreneurial journey. I will also share tips and tricks to help boost your focus, clarity, and mental resilience. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Hasan Abasi. Hey, Hasan, and it's really, really great to have you here with me.
Great to be here. Thank you for hosting me.
Thank you for coming. Let me introduce you. Hey, Hasan, you hold a PhD in computer science from the Technion, and you're also a lecturer there. You worked at several tech companies, including Intel, IBM, and Google in Zurich, Haifa, and Tel Aviv. In 2018, you started a new journey with a vision to democratize food delivery and serves areas with infrastructure-less cities. And you founded HAT, which means bring in Arabic. And currently you serve as its CEO, and we'll dive deep into the journey of HAT. Your vision is to bring a tech revolution to your society and hometown, Al-Fahim, through creating new job opportunities for youngsters, from delivery drivers to software engineers. And you're married and you have 3 children. You're father to 3 children. So It's really great. And thanks for coming. And I'm really curious to hear in depth about your journey. So tell me a little bit how it feels like to grow up in Al-Fahim, your journey. How did you decide to go to this path of diving deep into computer science? And I'll interrupt.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you again for hosting me. So let's start in the beginning. At the beginning, I remember first time I went outside of Al-Fahim, like till age of 12. I learned in Al-Fahim, and at age of 13, my parents decided to send me to Haifa to a good school. And it was first time I discovered what is Al-Fahim once I went out. So it's like Al-Fahim is a city that have same kind of people, like everyone, same religion, same opinion. They are similar, like everything is the same. And then one time I moved to Haifa, and everything is different, like different religions, different languages, different accents. People like have different opinions, like things that no one asked in my community. Yes. So it was like really crazy. So I think Al-Fahim is a interesting place.
Very homogenic.
Yeah, very homogenic, exactly. And it's like the jump from Al-Fahim to another city, to Haifa. It's like was crazy for me, and like build my character and like make me think about life in a different ways. Like was the first break, I think, in my life. Like
you're like describing this beautiful moment, like when you go out from one thing, that this is the reality as you know it, right?
Exactly.
The people, the culture, the behaviors, the views, the sceneries, and at the age of 13, you go out and it's like you're being exposed to the world.
Yeah.
You see different languages, different kinds of food, different religious, different people, different behaviors. And it's like it opens all of your senses.
Yeah, exactly. At the beginning, you are shocked. Like you don't know what to do with all of this information. I start annoying people, like asking them about like how they're praying, what do they think about God, how do they eat, what is allowed, not allowed. So like what's crazy, and with the time, you learn to accept new things and to accept new ideas and to understand you are not the center of the world. And
it can be also confusing and overwhelming, right?
Yeah,
because you're raised in one way, And then you see there's also other way.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think that the main advantage of it later on as a life lesson is that it gives you perspective and it helps you see other people, other situations in a much wider
yeah,
point of view.
yeah, totally agree. But it can be sometimes dangerous, especially when you are at age of 10 or 12. You know, it's like either it's like make you much stronger, but it can break you also because you know you feel you have no identity or you cannot prove yourself or find yourself. So it's like yeah, it's if you use it in the good way and you know with mentoring somehow, it will make you stronger and give you a lot of tools for the future.
So, what helped you to create this delicate and wise balance between feeling lost in this confusion and to actually leverage yourself through all the things that you're learning?
Yeah, I think it's like the dream. I
The
would
dream?
say. Yeah,
You had
I
a dream when you were 13 years old? You already had a dream?
I think it started from age of 9.
What was your dream?
It's a good question. My dream was to be a doctor, a medicine one.
Medicine.
Yeah, but it's not really medicine.
Uh-huh.
I think it's an interesting story because at age of 9, I fall in love with math. So it's like I loved math, and my parents said like, okay, we have a genius in the family, so you should be a doctor.
Uh-huh.
So I said, okay, if this what you know, for me they said
That's what in the cards.
yeah, they said doctor, and I thought about math. I thought
Uh-huh.
all the day I will solve like equations and you know numbers. So for me, it's like it was a symbol, like you know. And I grew up as to be like doctor, but for me, it's like was math. I didn't. It's just at age of 16, I understand that I want to be an engineer.
They spoke about MD and you spoke about PhD.
Yeah,
They're both doctor. This is just medical one, and this is just in-depth researcher of the area you choose to dive deep into.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, from that point, you know, it's like at age of 16, it's like I remember that day when I exposed first time to computer science, and so it was like a dream. Oh, finally, I found something that I really want. It's like the modern math. So it's like I remember this day when I went like my family and saying, "Hi, I know what I want to study. I want to be an engineer," and they like were in shock. And like my mother, like I cannot forget like how she looked to me like with like a huge disappointment.
But her son wants to have a PhD and to be like the best in computer science, and she's disappointed. Why do you think it was? Or maybe it was just interpretation of the situation.
Yeah, it wasn't a feeling. She told me,
Okay.
Hassan, you should know that you are a big, big, big disappointment. Like you are this big, this like you're disappointing us. And
רגע, נחתוך את השיעול. נמשיך מ-disappointing us.
she said you are disappointing us, and because like back then in 2024, like no one knew what is like tech, especially in Arab society, in our community. And you know, they dreamed from age of 9, as I said, like to have a doctor in the family. It's like bring an honor, like for the
Respect.
respect, exactly. And she thought like, you know, it's like going to be nothing. It's like she didn't really understand what does it mean computer science or electric engineering.
It's like sometimes from a lack of knowledge or exposure, as we spoke about, like living in Al-Fahim versus living in
Yes.
Haifa, you don't have the whole picture.
Yeah.
And as you described it, if I say it correctly, your family was disappointed because they weren't aware of the whole world that was opened to you through computer science.
Yeah.
and they had this fixation on medical school, medicine school, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
you saw the opportunity. You
Yeah.
know where it can lead you through computer science.
Yeah. To be honest, at that age, I didn't see like the full picture because it's like I didn't have role models or didn't see anyone's going to this field like but I saw myself. I saw like a place where I can really enjoy and have fun every day and wake up in the morning and like want to do this. So it's like I really was in love with math.
You were drawn to it. You describe it, and even now, when you're like 15 years older or so, you have this spark in your eyes when you
Yes.
speak about it. And it's beautiful to listen how this passion, we're talking about passion, that's the word
Yes.
for it. You felt it so strong when you were, youth, when you're young.
Yeah.
You already felt it. You didn't know exactly how to say it, how to call it, what it really means, but you were wise enough to understand that you need to follow it.
Yeah, like when I think about it, it's like crazy how I followed my passion. Yeah, it's like at age of 15, like 16, it's like it wasn't so easy. Like my parents fight it against me. It's like not just you are disappointing. Like my father start emotionally working on like saying your grandfather before he did, he asked that you become a doctor. Oh, poor young guy. and like he took it like one step further, and he said, if you will not go to study to be a doctor, you will not get any dollar from my pocket.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was like the last time I took a dollar from my father, thanks to him.
And if I make a small leap in time to nowadays, when you talk to him,
Yeah, I'm super proud.
he's super proud. Did you ever speak to him about this period and how it
Yes.
was, and how did you feel, and what was there?
Yes, we always speak about. We always like speaking about it. It's like something that we are laughing now.
Now you can laugh about it.
Yeah. But to be honest, it's like the best thing that happened to me, because if my father wasn't, challenging me, I wouldn't be able to build my startup, because like I understand that to get your things, you need to fight and hardly fight. So from that moment, it was like last time I ask anyone for something, it's like I need to be independent, and I started working from age of 16 till today. Like I don't remember any day that I just having fun.
It's so beautiful, and I want to elaborate a little bit about this point. All of us has things that happens. We like to say to us, but actually life happens for us, right?
Yes.
Life brings a lot of things, and the question is what we take from it. What are the lessons? How can we evolve from the things that life bring in front of us to us? And sometimes at the very specific moment, it's difficult, to cope with these setbacks, with this adversity, with the things that, it's a very, very big challenge, and it's also an emotional challenge. It's not
Exactly.
just an physical or a cognitive.
Finance.
It's like
Yeah.
it's an emotional challenge, which is, I think, more difficult. But from those moments, that's where our character is being built.
Exactly.
And also the imprintings that happens, like you will never forget this. This is part of your DNA. It's part of your traits. It's part of the way that you behave today, because you remember this period. You remember what happened. You remember how it built you. It will also impact the way that you will address your children, and it will also impact the way that you will address your employees as a CEO. So this challenge, it built you. Nevertheless, it's so beautiful to listen how today you can analyze what happened there, and you even made a closure and you spoke with your parents about it, and it's really exciting to see how they're super proud of you, and how you grew from this experience, which as a child can be very challenging, because
Yeah.
we're not always learned enough how to cope with this.
Yeah,
things.
and as a young guy, sometimes you don't have the courage,
Mhm.
to fight for something, and especially that you don't have, role models, and you are not really. I wasn't sure that it's like the right direction,
Mhm.
but I followed my heart. Yeah, like I knew it's like where I will be happy, and like they started to say, as an Arab guy in this country, you not have job, and no one will, give you an opportunity, and it start, it's like was emotionally, financially, in all the aspects, and at age of 16, like I decided to fight everyone. I like don't ask me where this coming from. I don't know. Like sometimes I ask myself how I have the courage, like
This
to
inner strength.
yeah to the belief to fight all of these things, and I'm happy that I did it.
It's so beautiful, and you mentioned 2 points that I think it's worth focusing on. First of all, you said I didn't have mentors those days,
Yes.
and I think that's true in general. To the adult, let's say, generation, because nowadays to the younger generation, it's much more common to have mentors. But back in those days, I also remember it on myself. We didn't have this position of mentors in our life that could show us the way, or help us see which path shall we go, or even just ask us the right question
Yes.
in order, to put a marker, to put a flashlight about the things that we need to dive deeper with ourselves in order to understand, and how, as more adult people, it's really beautiful to be mentors for others, because the knowledge and the experiences that we bring with ourselves can really help younger generations just to fine tune their wishes and their path. And the other thing that you spoke about, the belief, this inner strong belief, which is amazing. And I think it goes very deep to how do we define success, because there are so many parameters that we can say
Yes.
what defines success. And for each one, it's different.
Yes.
One can measure it in financial terms, one in publicity, one in a brand, one in the way he looks or she looks, many
Yes.
different parameters. But I think that the most beautiful thing is to understand by ourselves that we are aligned with who we are.
Exactly.
And the more we live the life the way we see and the way we think life should be lived, that's a very good indication for success, because we were aligned with ourselves. I just read a blog post that Lior Frankel, hi Lior, wrote about, and he just pinpointed this exactly thing, and I really, really liked it. And this is actually what you bring here, because we can know if we succeeded in something only, in the result test, only after it happened, right?
Yes.
And sometimes we fail, and sometimes we don't succeed to do the things that we planned, or to achieve the goals that we wanted in the startup or in the life, in everyday life. But if we know that we did everything in our power, everything we could, and we were aligned with, our inner self, then we feel successful, we feel achieved, we feel that we did things in the best possible way for us.
Yeah, totally aligned. I think it's like my North Star. Yes. Like.
Yeah.
Like in a daily basis is like like I take decisions based on where I find myself. Like it's not based on as you mentioned, like success can come, you can success, you can fail in some places, but I always make sure that I'm myself. Like even with crazy things, I just give an example. Like I can bring my kid, my son to some conference, like or my daughter. Is like it's like everyone like looking in. Oh, what's strange? Like why you bringing like one of age of one? Yes,
Uh-huh.
but it's me.
This
It's
is
like
you.
this is like the way I feel comfortable. This is like, of course, without disturbing
Of
anyone.
course.
But yeah.
Being true to yourself.
Yeah, it's like really keep focusing on it, and keep remind myself, like, don't forget who you are.
Just be you.
Exactly.
That's very powerful, and I'm with you. So let's move ahead a little bit. And
Yes.
you decide to choose to focus on the computer science and you start to study it, and then what happens?
So it's like I went to the Technion, and like was my dreams. Like I was I was super excited like to be there. Like I woke every day like at 8, a lot of power, like attending all the tutorials, lectures, everything.
The
You know,
same passion.
yeah, and especially like when you want to prove something, like the fight that I got home, it's like work like in a great way, because once it make me independent, and second, it give me only one option. I have to success. I have to be like the best. So I studied like crazy. I worked like crazy. I like didn't go home for months, like visiting parents only like one time in 3 months. And
Wow.
because I need to work, I need to study, I need to do a lot of things. And I was really enjoyed like to study, and like everyone laughed on me like what is fun with what we are doing. And
You still had the spark. You just felt it from the inside.
yeah, it's like I still excited, maybe even more than the first time.
So you did your like direct path to PhD.
Yeah, so I finished my first year, and then I started as a like teaching in the Technion, as workshops, and also start work.
As a teaching assistant.
Then like 2 years later, I as a teacher assistant. Then at the age of 25, I become a lecturer.
Wow.
And after I finished my first degree, I felt it's not enough. I want more. Like I'm hungry. Then I continued to.
You're hungry.
Yeah.
We'll get to the hunger in a second.
Yeah.
We need to fulfill this hunger.
Exactly. So I continued to my second degree. I felt is not enough, so I went to the third one. So yeah, direct to the PhD.
Wow.
Yes.
And in all this period, it was like, easy, it's not the right word, because it's not easy to study at the Technion, but it's like you were in a flow. It like was
Yeah.
accurate for you. You found your passion there.
Yeah.
Like this
Yeah.
was your path, you know,
Yeah.
from a very young age.
I felt like every day, it's like as I said, like it wasn't an excitement, it was a passion. So it's like not just I'm excited to be here and so on. No, it's much more, because excitement like is going within a month, 6 months, first semester, second, but I feel it still till now. Like this is what I want to do. Like I'm writing, I still writing code. Yes, like I'm CEO, but still, you know, like
This is your inner drive,
yeah,
your passion,
exactly.
your inner drive, and what helps you, you know, what pushes you all the time to the next level, to the next step.
Exactly.
So you graduated from the Technion with a PhD, which is not an easy task at all. And then what?
Yeah, before next, like during this time,
Yeah.
I met my wife. I think it's like one of the most important part of my life, because, you know, it's like she's now giving me the whole support. Like otherwise, I cannot see myself doing what I'm doing now without, you know, the big support that I got from her.
What's her name?
Anram.
Anram.
Anram, it means rings.
Rings.
Yes.
I like rings. So you met her at the Technion?
I met her in the bus. She's from Haifa University.
Okay.
So I met her in the bus at her first year, and even not before the first year, like she was just 18.
Okay.
And she came to the university to, you know, to register.
Mhm.
So I met her. I knew in the first second she's going to be my wife. I'm not kidding. It's like I told my friends can
She's the one.
yeah, I told them,
Spot
okay,
on.
I found my wife. That's it. So it's like it was a conversation with 1 minute, and like I took her Facebook, not her phone.
You have a good assessment of people.
Yeah.
It's one of the skills that you have to have as a CEO and as a founder, an entrepreneur, like to be very accurate and to really see people inside out, your employees, your investors,
100%.
to be very accurate with those people that you choose to be with you along the journey.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like people do not say a lot of things, but you need really to read their eyes,
Exactly.
their movements.
The body language.
Yeah, the body language and so on.
So Anram,
Yes.
and what did she study in Haifa University?
Art.
Art.
She's an artist.
She needs to balance all this
Yeah.
science part of the
Yeah.
family.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we can see it in our kids. They're like mixing between math and art.
So you got married, and then like you finished at the Technion, and you joined Google.
Yes, during this time, like before finishing the PhD, it's like we had already 2 kids, Muhammad and Dana, and it was like a really challenging time. Like she did her first degree, I'm doing my PhD. We are alone in Haifa. No, we couldn't get help of the parents, and yeah, it was a crazy time. During this time,
You say it like in one line, like in a sentence, but being a mother of 3 children, and now I also have a small dog, a puppy, so it's like it's really difficult to pursue your PhD. You were young, you were like 20 at the late 20, right? When you had
even
less,
yeah,
25, something
25,
like
26, yeah.
like young parents pursuing your PhD. She is studying as well. Having 2 children, you have very big dreams. It's a lot. And this is, again, another thing that builds our character.
Yeah.
The fact that we can cope with everything that we're choosing. Everything comes from a complete choice. You chose to be a father, you chose to have children, you chose this PhD, but still, it's a lot.
Yeah, I'm kind of people that, has no fears in a good way. Like I push myself, my limits to really the end. So, I mean, people when they decide to have a child, like they're thinking too much, what I will do with my career, how I will do things, my job, things. But it's not me. It's like a crazy, but it's like I will do everything. I will not sleep. So I don't sleep, I think, from age of 16.
That's not wise. I don't recommend it at all.
Yes, I agree.
We need to sleep because we need to nurture our super precious body that carries us, and takes care of everything, because without this body, we're nothing. So you do need to go to sleep.
I totally agree, but it's like my character, like as you said.
We'll talk about it after. I don't approve.
Yeah.
So being a young father to 2 children, PhD, Google, for how many years you've been working at Google?
So overall, it's like 5 years. Part of them like during my PhD, and part of them are in Zurich, in Switzerland.
So for how many years you lived abroad? You relocated for?
Is around 1 year.
Or around a year.
Yeah,
okay.
And 1 year in Tel Aviv, and the rest in Haifa. And then continue to work in Haifa, like as a Google engineer. And one day, I returned back to my parents. Like I need some help with the kids. It was really tough. So we decided to have like 6 months of help. So we went to Al-Fahim, and there like a new journey started, a new paragraph, a new chapter.
So at this point, you already have your 3rd child.
No,
Not yet.
not yet.
Not yet. Okay, so we'll get into it in a second. Okay, so you go back to Al-Fahim, and what do you see there? Because I remember how you described the way out, that everything was so organic, and you went out, you saw Haifa, you were exposed to so many things.
Yes.
It's like expansion. And now it's like you're concentrating closing to your sources, to your origin, to where you came from. But you are not the same person.
Exactly.
And it's not the same place. You changed, they changed, and you bring with yourself new spirit, new behaviors, new capabilities. And what do you choose to do next? Yeah.
So in that moment, I totally agree with you. Like I returned to a place I'm not familiar with anymore, because like more than 10 years, I'm not there. I'm just coming to visit my parents or like saying hi or something. It's like was crazy, like jumping from Zurich, Haifa to Al-Fahim is like, what I'm doing here? I should return back to the place where I am. It's like difficult, like no places to have fun, like no clubs or anything, like only food. Like you don't have like places to have fun, some like professional courses for your kids or swimmings, and the separating between men's and women. So like I cannot have something with my wife. It's like was crazy, and like the first months, it's like what I'm doing here. I cannot survive. This was like the feeling. It's like it's like jumping from Al-Fahim to outside of Al-Fahim. It's like crazy. Returning back, it's like crazy again.
So at that point, what did you choose to do?
So we said like 6 months and we will leave. We cannot survive more. And one day I decided to order food. Like I was so hungry. And I was like, again, I'm disappointed. Like it's like so difficult to bring food home, and like because many things. Like restaurants have no websites, no menus, no any way to see like their meals, and no drivers. I need like to find by myself some freelance drive, and no credit card payments, and somehow I succeeded to coordinate between all of them. Drivers arrived to me and said, "Hey, I arrived," and it took him 15 minutes to reach my home, and like was so angry at that moment. And 5 minutes later, I said, "Okay, I have to solve it."
It's like the system. There wasn't a system.
There
wasn't a system. But tell me, were you the only one who felt that way, or that you spoke to other young friends, people who live there? They felt the same feeling, like when you did the market research.
Yeah, when I did the market research and I decided to start, even the people that joined me, sorry, even the people that joined me at the beginning, I remember that is very good. Like they said, Hasan, I think. Yeah, I remember that moment very well. And they said, Hasan, I think you are doing shitty things, but we believe in you. We are with you. I remember, like, they're still with me till this moment.
Wow, it's very touching and exciting. And maybe I make a mistake, but they believe in me so much that it gives me a lot of power, a lot of strength to go ahead with this.
Yeah, I remember same feeling as age of 16 when I decided, like, followed my heart. It's like the same feeling exactly, the same react from everyone around me. Like my parents said, you are disappointing again. You are a doctor, teaching in the Technion, working Google. Now they are know what is high tech and what things, like things.
The perks and the comps.
Yeah. And I went to the restaurants explaining them about the idea, and they said, Hasan, I think because you studied too much in Technion, you become crazy. And last one was like crazy, like a doctor from Technion selling baguettes. It's like same fight.
The sentence that I really like that you said it was the same feeling when I understood it, when this was my eureka moment again, it was the same moment, same feeling as I felt when I was 16. It's like your body, your mind, your brain, everything, like this feeling got to be part of who you are. You couldn't recognize it then, but when it happened again,
exactly,
like your mind could recognize it, and it gave you another layer, let's call it that way, of affirmation, of approval that you're in the right path. Yeah, like you could see yourself from the outside and say, okay, this is what happens now. I know that the external surround will say I'm crazy. I know that I still don't know where I'm going, what I'm doing, but something inside me says this is the right thing to do. And I listen to it.
Exactly. But this time the fight is much, much harder. And I'm prepared because I did it 10 years ago. So as I said, like the things that happened with me 10 years ago prepared me to what I'm now.
So, hot in few sentences, how long you're running already? Tell us your growth journey.
So it was like we started to work in the product like beginning of 2019,
Mm-hmm.
and we launched the product at the 2020, like Feb 2020, beginning of Feb, like
Mm-hmm.
a month before Corona.
Yeah.
And so we started with one city, 4 employees. Within 3 years, we are 150 employees, more than 30 cities, and over 3 countries.
Psh,
Yeah,
it's really impressive.
yeah, and those restaurants that loved on us, they came. It's like they didn't keep it in their heart, and they came and said, "Hassan, we need to apologize."
Wow.
Yeah, and we succeeded even more than doubling their revenues.
Wow. That's amazing.
And they said, Hassan, without like once I like worked with them and like tried to convince them, it was before Corona, and this like no one knew that Corona's coming, and they said, we like thanks to that we succeeded to survive during Corona.
That's amazing.
So it's like
It is-
yeah, it's same
it's
feeling.
really-
I-
It's really exciting and something.
yeah, it's like it's same event but different people. Like I remember my father when he came to Intel like for the first time and saw like the conditions, the environments, like, and I'm earning more than him, like helping him financially, and like it was like same but like with a bigger scale.
And it's not just that you had a good business model and you really increased the revenues to your customers and you really made a sustainable, good business model that works. You also created a lot of impact with this startup, with this why, with this journey, because you also helped the Arabic community, the Arabic people, to be much more involved, both as employees and both to improve their lives.
I think is one of the biggest or one of the most thing that make me happy is the impact that had did. At the beginning, it wasn't part of my, it wasn't one of the reasons why
Uh-huh.
I'm doing what
Yeah.
I'm doing. And today is the main reason.
Wow.
Like after seeing the effect of
Yes.
it and after, understanding the impact that I can do, like a single person with a single company, the impact that can do for a huge community, it's like crazy. Like I see young people like they asking me to I got like on a daily basis calls from schools, like students asking me to come to explaining them about the experience. It's like the first startup inside the Arab society, and it's like the first time we are producers and not consumers.
Uh-huh.
And many people's like tech engineers that don't need to travel like to go 2 hours like to Tel Aviv, and a lot of young people 18 19 that they can work in a customer service, or they in their own in their own cities was a revolution. And everyone is excited, like not just like in Al-Fahm, all the Arab society, like they are proud of what we are doing. It like today, I'm like for me is like the main, and it's very clear is like the main reason why I'm doing what I'm doing.
It's really touching, and it's really I see your passion, I see your eyes, and it's like it's really beautiful to see how the whole value chain is really the impact is embedded in the whole value chain.
Yeah,
Okay, both for the producers, both for the employees, the investors that wants to create a better Israel, for both for the people who are the users who actually get the food and enjoy it. So like the impact is felt in every stage of the value chain, and this is really beautiful. Tell me, did you feel? I want to ask different because you weren't an entrepreneur before, so it's difficult to compare. But from what you've heard and the way that you are part of the tech world in the years before at Google, did you feel that your journey was more difficult or easier because the fact that you're Arab as an entrepreneur?
Generally speaking, the journey is super, super difficult. We usually see the success, but we don't see like I would say, the suffer behind it. You know, it's like patient, but you know, you suffer. Like I'm
That's
tired.
why we're here.
Yeah, I'm like physically, I'm super tired, but mentally and you know, it's like I'm super excited. Like it's like the happiest time in my life, but the hardest time in my life in the same time. So it's super challenging, and for me as an Arab is like make it a little bit more challenging. In some places it make it easier, okay, because you know many great people with agenda, they're not looking only for businesses, they're looking for business with some values, and in these places I think it's like an advantage. But to be honest, like if we take the overall, it's like more challenging as an Arab to build a startup. Is like first, you know, it's like more risky. Think about like where you prefer to invest in, like a company in Tel Aviv, and you know what is going to be in Tel Aviv and everything, or as a company in Al Fahm where you know you hear from news things, you know, some violence, things like that. So I understand, like, you know, someone that have some fears or, you know, will see it as a high risk. So it's challenging, yes. But overall, you know, to build a startup, just, you know, is never easy.
I like the answer, and I like to say it's complex.
It's complex.
You know, anyhow, to be an entrepreneur, to be a founder, it's very, very complex. It entitles so many things
yes
into it.
But I'm not complaining.
And this is it's what it is, you know.
Yes.
It's what it is. Each person, male, female, brings together, you know, the things that they need to deal with. Each society brings in what they need to deal with. But anyway, this journey is difficult. And like you said, on the other hand, to feel such impactful, so full of impact, the way that you are one of the first people to lead this
Exactly.
change. You are there when it happens. It's so fulfilling. Hasan, into the startup, you give birth. Your wife gives birth to your third child, and what happens?
Yes, I think is like the hardest moment from the hardest, you know, period. It's like, by the way, it's like in mid of like in the crazy moments, you know, that we had. It's like I will talk in freely, like not politically correct.
Thank you for that.
My wife telling me, "Okay, I'm pregnant." What?
Again?
Again, I didn't hear. It's like we were in shock, both of us, because we really wasn't like we are not ready for it. Like I really wasn't like. I don't see like my kids, my family. I'm not sleeping. We can discuss it later, but
We will.
so like physically not sleeping, and you know I don't have time. Like even for my two kids, I don't have. So we said, okay, we will accept it, and we really love family, me and my wife, and we said, okay, we will survive as always, and like everything was good. Like it was some challenges with my wife health, as like she's like suffered a little bit during, you know, she's being pregnant with the two kids, and like was a tough, but let's ignore it for a little bit. The hardest is coming. So after, you know, she gave a birth, first 6 months was really smooth, and like we have this experience with two kids before, and first 6 months should be hard. It wasn't as we expected. And one day I'm opening Morocco. So it's like started traveling to Morocco to study the market, meeting people and so on. One day when I'm in Morocco, my wife is calling me and she's saying, our daughter is not feeling good. She need to go to hospital. Like she cannot breathe. And okay, I didn't thought much and said, okay, she will go to hospital. I was 2 weeks in Morocco.
Wow.
During the 2 weeks, she stayed at the hospital, and we have 2 kids in the home. Like start like being crazy, but I didn't thought that there is something serious.
Mm-hmm.
And once we returned back home, and like took 1 month, and no improvement. And our daughter's like she just sleeping, and like it's like we start being super worried, and we have 2 kids in the home, and like this is making me really crazy. And we decided to move her to some special like restaurant, hospital. Sorry, I'm
You're busy with restaurants.
yes, and we move her to Schneider, and 2 days after, they said your daughter have no immune system. We was in shock. She lived for 6 months without any issues, and they start explaining she got some resistance from her mother and so on. And okay, what is like the next step? They said we have bad news. She has an immune system, but it's defective immune system, like it's not working. So we need to kill the immune system, and we need to give her an external, an external immune system from someone other. And it's like was crazy. Two
Wow.
kids. I'm opening Morocco, like a new country, first time for me, like opening country. I need to travel all the time, and my kids, like and someone need to care about them, and we need to find someone to denote to our daughter. Like was 6 months. My wife 6 months in the hospital,
Wow.
and in that moment, I said, it's the moment where I need to success, because to bring the success, because if you build a company or anything, it will take 7, 8, 10 years. In this 10 years, you will have a lot of issues, health issues, financial issues, anything. I need to survive. And me and my wife, and that's what I told you like before, without my wife, I will not survive. We decide that she's 100% with our daughters, and I will care about everything else, including the company and the 2 kids. But I cannot do everything. Like I will not be in touch with my daughter. So she just put the focus 100%, and I like handle things. So I brought someone to my home, caring about my kids, and no one feel that anything is happening in my home, in the company. I mean, like in this 6 months, I did the hardest part of my company, opening a new country. I hired general manager. I meet tens of people. I traveled too much times, and it was like really, really crazy. And can you guess who's the one that denote like from whom like we found the matching?
Uh-huh.
It was me.
So you contributed her?
Yeah, it was like
Wow.
the top moment of my life.
You're the donor.
Yeah, I'm the
Wow.
donor. Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So
And
we look
when
for
did it
money.
happened?
It like was like they thought like like
Brothers, siblings.
brothers can like should match.
Mm.
Usually parents not matching,
Mhm.
and it was like amazing how we as a
Wow.
family, you can see it as a sad moment, but for us was I think the happiest moment ever,
Wow.
where all of us checking our blood, checking that we can give our
Her.
daughter her,
Yeah.
and the family like we felt great moments. To be honest, like one of the top.
Wow. It's so empowering, and I can relate to so many things you said. But you said, my wife, we took a decision. We made a choice that my wife will be 100% with her, and I will be with the 2 other kids and the company. And then 6 months to it, you also were with a girl, because you actually gave her you were the donor. You gave her
Yes.
the mechetzim. You gave her actually the thing that helped her, right, to build a new
In your immune system.
system.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
before we continue, I just want to emphasize one more thing. You're talking like you're smiling and you're a strong person, and you're sitting here and you're successful at what we do, but I don't want us to get confused by that, and to mark it and to put a flashlight on it that you're saying it was so difficult for me.
It's
I didn't allow anyone else to feel that it's so difficult for me.
I cried.
I cried. I have to sacrifice so many things.
And I'm not crying. Like, I don't remember myself cried maybe at the age of 5. It's like last time I cried. It was times that I felt really like no power. Like, what is going with my life? But I keep fighting. No one felt anything. The company doubled itself in that moment. Like, was huge steps that we did.
I want to suggest a thought that one may say that, okay, why don't you focus on the family and drop the company and focus just on the family? But I want to suggest that focusing on the company and on your doing and on the impact that you create and creating more workplaces and more impact actually helps you also to be stronger and to survive this challenge, this complex thing that you're going through in the family at the same time, because it gives you a sense of purpose. It gives you a feeling of doing, and it gives you more a sense of control and how you can contribute to improve.
Yeah, I think even a little bit more. I felt first, I would say that I had also my family. Like, I have 150 people, and they are really my family. Like, fighting with me, nights, morning with me. So this is first
the
one. The employees, yeah. Even I'm not calling them employees. Like, it's like really had family, and even our group called had family. And I really, this is my feeling that they are also my family, and I have responsibility for them. And also, like, we have a bigger thing more than Hasan and his family. I have responsibility for community. Yes, I like my main incentive now is like, we need to prove that we can do it, and once had do it, more young people will do it in the coming years. So there's no place to give up. And as I said, during 10 years, I will have a lot of things: death, sickness, financial issues, good things, bad things. So in 10 years, you cannot assume that everything will went smooth and only small issues, not serious ones. So this is one of them, and I need to deal with it.
I want to, first of all, thank you for your honesty and openness in allowing yourself to speak this thing, which I know and you know it's true, but sometimes people and founders don't speak about it so much. And yes, you have so many difficulties, like every regular person. Yeah,
yes.
You have all the things that life brings to cope with, to deal with, all the challenges that life brings with it. And on top of it, you have the company and the impact that you want to create in this world. And part of this founder capacity, this responsibility that you take when you choose to build a company is exactly this, that even if the most stressful, difficult, challenging moments, you will be there because you see it serves something which is bigger than just yourself. Exactly the way you beautifully described it. Hasan, how is Yara now?
So she's doing a great progress, and hopefully in a few months she will return to be, independent of anything, because she still gets some drugs and some help, but things are going in a great place, and she with us, and is bringing a lot of love to the family, and I have no complaints.
First of all, I first and foremost I want to really wish a good health to Yara and to you and to the family and really everything that you're going through. So I really hope that things will be better with time. And I also want to really praise your, the spirit that you bring into this conversation. And I'm sure that also to the family, the Hat family, because this optimism and this sense of, this full of life that you have, this vitality, this feeling of purpose, this feeling that nothing can beat us all those things really create a very strong culture between employees, vendors, investors, all the stakeholders that we're in touch, that we have a relationship with as founders and as a C-level CEOs. And I'm sure that everything you dealt with and still deal with, you bring into it. And it's like a breathing ecosystem. It's like a breathing system, that this one impacts on the other. And the way we are as personal human beings and the way we are as the professional persona, it really contributes one to each other. And the more they're aligned, the more we feel complete with ourselves. Wow, Hasan, we spoke about so many things, and I'm very, you gave me personally a lot of things to think about and to be grateful for, and I'm really, really touched now. So I really want to thank you coming here, talking to me, talking on this podcast, and people who want to join a hat to work with you, where they can find you?
Everywhere.
Everywhere. I like it.
Yes. Yeah, we are exist like in LinkedIn, Facebook, social media.
You're there.
Yeah, everywhere.
You're there. Thank you so much for coming here today. To our lovely listeners, we're going to hit pause until the next episode. That's also something I say to the entrepreneurs in my clinic in between sessions. If you enjoyed listening, I would really appreciate if you share the podcast with people who you think will derive value from it. Thanks to the amazing studios at Google for Startups that allow me to record this content here. Feel free to visit my website at galiblochliran.com and leave your details there if you wish to be updated and learn more about the mental aspects of the entrepreneurial journey. Also, be sure to follow my podcast, The Human Founder, in any of your podcast apps. Let's hit pause. Till next time. Thank you so much, Hasan, and good luck.
Thank you. That's great. Thank you.
The Human Founder Podcast by Gali Bloch-Liran.